increased availability of premium motor spirit will stabilize prices across the country. Plus, oil steadies ahead of key U.S. jobs report. The program is Business Express, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. And our guest today is an energy expert, Billy Gilly Harris, who will be joining us in the course of the program from Texas, USA. I am Benny Adams, your guide. Join us at this time, and it's that time we bring you up to speed with happenings around the world of business, from the boardrooms to the market square. I'll start by telling you that the Bank of Industry, BOI, has achieved a remarkable 142.5% subscription in the senior phase of its €1 billion global loan syndication, securing €1.425 billion from international financial markets. This groundbreaking feat surpasses the bank's previous records and demonstrates a strong vote of confidence in BOI and the Nigerian economy. Building on its previous success, BOI had raised $1 billion in July 2022 and successfully repaid the loan in July 2024. The current facility includes a fully guaranteed and partially guaranteed tranche by African Finance Corporation. Managing Director and CEO of Bank of Industry, Dr. Olasupo Olusi, says the feat is a testament of hard work and dedication in providing low-interest, long-tenured funds to Nigeria's growing private sector, aligning with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's vision. BOI has appointed African Finance Corporation and Standard Chartered Bank as global coordinators for the €1 billion syndicated term loan facility, with a potential increase of another €1 billion. The bank looks forward to a successful conclusion of the ongoing general phase, given the significant interest from local and international banks and investors. Now, concerned by the current situation of petrol in the country, Vice President Kashim Shettima also met with the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, Minister of State Petroleum Resources, Heineken Lokpobiri, and other stakeholders following directives from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports that the meeting was held behind closed doors, and the Minister of State Petroleum Resources, Oil, Heineken Lokpobiri, expressed President Tinubu's empathy on the hardship Nigerians are facing and assured the availability of the product.
The President is empathetic about what is going on in the country. He's concerned about the hardship of Nigerians, and that was why he directed the Vice President to call this meeting, for us to reflect on what is going on in the country. What is important is that products are available in the country. And we believe that between now and the weekend, there will be availability of products across the length and breadth of the country. The price could be high in some other areas, much more. Higher in some other locations, in some locations much more than, other areas. But we believe that by the time, there is availability of product across the country, the price itself will stabilize. But what is important is that government is not fixing prices. This sector is deregulated, and we believe that with the availability of products, the price will find, its level.
All regulatory efforts are now geared towards stabilizing supply, with the resultant impact that it will be positive also on the stability of price. To that objective, the regulator is ensured that there's increased operating hours from all loading depots. More importantly also is the reinforcement of the support being given to local refiners, because with increased production from them, indeed, like the minister has said, there will be higher supply, which will stabilize the price.
The federal government is optimistic that with the support being given to local refineries, production will increase and price will definitely stabilize. Now, the pump price of PMS, popularly known as petrol, has gone up to 897 per litre, with some independent filling stations selling between 930 to 1,000 plus in Abuja and Everest, while many fuel stations are without supply, leaving motorists at the mercy of those hawking the products on the street. With the latest upward price review, the price of petrol has now risen by more than 355% from 197 per litre on May 29, 2023. Issues around the downstream pump price is the focus of our conversation on Business Express today. And our guest is an oil and gas expert, Dr. Billy Gillis Harris. He joins us from Texas, United States of America. Dr. Billy, how is it looking like this morning in Texas?
Good morning. It's a little bit rainy, but it's summertime. Good afternoon.
Great. If you listen to the Minister of State Oil talking about Heineken Lokobiri, he says government no longer puts price tag on petrol. They don't have nothing to do with prices. And now, just a few days ago, we witnessed a hike in the price of this commodity, the commodity that every Nigerian goes for every day, for logistic purposes, moving from one place to the other, for production and all of that. Now, being someone who has been giving us details from what is happening in Port Harcourt with the refinery coming up, and now the Dangote has actually announced a production of PMS. Are we seeing light at the end of the tunnel? Are we seeing availability? And would that also translate to price stability?
Well, the more product we have in the country, the more the price of the product will compete from city to city, and therefore it will impact on the price very positively. But we all have to know, that we are dealing with a product that is so centered on the vagaries of the import-related, costs. So at all times, we just have to know that it might not be business as usual. But let me congratulate us as Nigerians that a high-powered meeting of that caliber was held by the Vice President, and solutions were being sought and hopefully found to end this petroleum product saga. And the minister has said it all. This sector ought to be deregulated fully. And if it is deregulated, then the forces of demand and supply will determine the price. However, we still want the government to do the best they can to make sure that the refineries owned by Nigeria, the one that is owned, by in Port Harcourt, by Nigerians, and the ones owned in Warri and Kaduna, all of them owned by Nigerians should be working. Otherwise, I think what is going to happen is that once these refineries are all working, there will be so much product in country that we will be thinking of even doing much more exports, knowing that some of the refineries are already operating in the export processing. So I think it's going to be, there's going to be some reprieve, and I think this suffering will cease with the coming on stream of all the refineries.
Are we having a sufficiency issue at this point, or is it about logistics and moving this commodity from one part of the country to another? I'm asking this at the background of the prices that have gone up just in a few days ago. Yes, you hear loading is not that frequent. There is a weather issue. There is transportation issue. What about sufficiency as we await tanks to begin to come out of the Dangote refinery?
Well, we have been informed, by those who ought to, that there is product availability. The concern we have as retail outlet owners is let us start to see the product, let us start to load them out to our retail outlets, and let Nigerians start to feel the impact.
Okay, talking about retail outlets, we know the NNPC retail has been one source of getting this commodity available and at a controlled price of 617, but it's no longer that. The moment there was a court order from the signing of NNPC retail being taken over by OVH Owando, does that mean these prices are gone and gone for good? What should we be looking forward to?
Like the minister said, the prices will be fluctuating from time to time. There's no doubt about that. The important thing is that product is available and Nigerians do not suffer in moving from one location to the other. We will adjust, and I'm sure that we'll be able to get things working. It's such a very hard and difficult time, and like the minister said, the president is very empathetic about the situation. So that, for me, goes down well. But let us match, word with action, and make sure that petroleum products starts to roll out from this weekend.
Okay, from your end, I know you've been at the forefront of ensuring that when these tankers are loaded from depots, they should be followed up, or will I say escorted, using technology to the point of delivery. This is to avoid issues or reported cases of diversion of these products, because we are still having cases where we hear that some of these products are actually finding their way out of this country. Can you confirm that at this point? And what efforts have been made or been put in place from your end and government to ensure
We
this stops?
certainly know that there's quite a lot. You heard Dangote explaining how products from his refinery will be tracked. Petron, on our own, developed the local technology of 3Ps, which we have been using to make sure that we have some level of tractability, traceability, and monitoring of how our products that we load, are taken to the stations and what they do. So with those kind of technologies being embraced by every retail outlet owner and tanker drivers, Nupeng, PTD down the road, I believe that with the support of NMDPRA, getting these type of technologies working, we should be able to stop or at least, reduce the size of smuggling that is being talked about to the barest minimum.
Okay, in all of this, yes, you've mentioned earlier prices should be fluctuating, but with the forces of demand and supply, what should we be expecting? Nigerians just want to hear good news, not just availability, but also these prices should be kind of minimally reduced. Which way to go to achieving that?
It's difficult now to predict any price because most of the input expenses have not been clearly understood or defined. We retailers will always have financial institutions working with us, ensure that products are paid for, and we are, assisted with NUPEG and PTD and all the truck drivers and tanker drivers to take them to our various retail outlets. It's only when we start this new regime that we can actually work out what pricing should be. So I think everybody is already sitting down to make predictions on prices. It might be faulty. And we heard the minister, Senator, clearly say that prices will be different from one location to the other. So that certainly is going to be the truth. But right today, I'm completely unable to project any price that the product will sell. But we must remember that production cost must be recovered. Logistic costs must be recovered. Even when you do in-country production of PMS or any other product at all, there are expenses that must be taken care of.
Okay, talking about these expenses that need to be taken care of, from production costs to logistics costs. Now that the federal government has walked the talk of selling crude, not just to the Dangote, but any other indigenous refinery in Naira and not the dollar, yes, one is reducing the strain and the hassle of securing or getting the dollar. What impact is that in reducing the cost along the value chain?
Well, that policy is going to do much more than just reducing prices. The reality is that we are spending about 40% of our foreign exchange earnings, in importing PMS. Now with Dangote coming on stream and hopefully all the other refineries in country coming on stream to produce PMS, that size of money may be reduced to the barest minimum. Not that there will not be imports. There will still be imports from the calculation that we have made to be able to meet up with what Nigerians will actually need. But it will not be as big in size as that. So that also, in the same vein, it's going to impact on pricing because now the refineries in country are going to buy the crude oil in Nigerian naira. That portends quite a lot. One is going to improve the quality and the value of the naira. Because once we start trading very effectively with the Nigerian naira, that is what is our legal currency and means of medium of exchange, it will certainly improve the quality of the naira. And once the naira is improving, we are hoping that it gets as low as 300 naira at certain point in time before this administration runs out. By the projections I have made, it's going to help. And then, because there are not going to be import expenses associated with the products that are going to roll out from these in-country refineries, that also should impact the pricing very robustly. And therefore, we should expect much lower pricing when product is fully available in the country. That will not happen just on the 15th or on the 20th. It's going to happen as all hands are put on deck. Refining capacity in country is being increased, and we are receiving products from all sides. So that certainly will create competition even within us, and it will impact on the prices positively.
That is quite cheering. But before we let you go, can you tell us a bit of the latest with the Port Harcourt refinery at this point?
Well, Port Harcourt refinery, before I came out to do my transactions on how we can help even in bringing additional product, which is the reason why I'm actually here in Texas. In the month of July and early part of August, I led a team of technocrats, experts, traders, and we had very, very robust review of the situation. And we came out with a very strong pass mark for what the refineries and the managers have done. The gentleman in Warri, Engineer Offair, and the other gentleman in Port Harcourt, Engineer Ibrahim, and their team are working around the clock, to ensure that the refineries are up and doing. And I give them credit, I give them kudos. I give the same kudos to the Minister of Oil, to the GMD, and even the President, and encourage them to put more effort to make sure that that refinery comes on stream this September, as it is promised lately. So I think the refineries will roll back again. They'll roll back into life. And I'm very confident about that from what I saw.
Thank you very much, Dr. Billy Gilly Harris, for giving us the latest insights on the way to go for Nigeria's energy sector. It is actually quite cheering, all the information you reeled out this afternoon. Enjoy your stay, and we wish you fruitful deliberations in Texas as you work towards ensuring energy sufficiency in Nigeria.
'Nigeria. 'Thank you so much. 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 '
Now, oil prices ticked up in Asia trading on Friday, with investors exercising caution ahead of key U.S. employment data as they weigh a big withdrawal from the U.S. crude inventories and a delay to production hikes by OPEC Plus producers. Brent crude futures rose 13 cents to $72.82, and U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures were up 12 cents to $69.27 for the week. Brent was on track to drop nearly 8%, while the WTI was headed for a decline of almost 6%. There have been mixed signals on the U.S. economy this week ahead of non-farm payrolls data on Friday that is expected to be key to the size of a U.S. interest rate cut at the Federal Reserve's September 17 to 18 meeting. Now, gold hovers near one-week high ahead of the U.S. jobs data. Let's now see how other stocks lower for fifth session as U.S. data weighs. Volvo cars down 4%. Let's join Maria Zakari for an update. Hello, Maria. What is happening on the global stock market?
Well, throughout the week, the market has been bearish. Also this afternoon, the story is the same. Stocks from European stocks were lower after clocking closes in 4 straight sessions this week. The DAX traded in red at 0.41%. We have FTSE, which followed suit at 0.27%. We have the CAC, which reflected this at 0.14%. Moving now to Asia markets, we have Japan's household spending data for July, which rose by 0.1% in real terms from the previous year compared to a 1.2 rise expected from economists polled by Reuters, and a reversal compared to a 1.4 fall in June. Also in the Asian continent, Hong Kong's market will be shut down today due to Super Typhoon Yagi. We have the Nikkei, which depreciated to 0.72%. We have the Shanghai Composite following suit with 0.81%. Hang Seng Index went down also marginal. Moving on to U.S. markets, the August jobs report show payrolls grow by 142,000 in August. That's less than the 161,000 expectations by analysts poll by Dow Jones. However, the unemployment rate edged down to 4.2% in line with presumptions. Looking at the figures now, we have the Dow Jones Industrial Average lower by 0.39%. S&P 500 depreciated by 0.59%. We have the Nasdaq Composite, which slumped 1.02%. Africa markets lower too, as South Africa JSE Top 40 went down by 0.62%. We have Tunisia Tin Index following suit with 0.27%. Namibia All-Share Index reflected this trend at 0.82%, and the only market in green is Ghana, which went up 0.05%. That's the global market update, Benny. It's all you know.
Thank you, Maria. Now, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, has stressed the critical need for aligning subnational government with federal standards to maintain the integrity of Nigeria's fiscal chain. Speaking at the National Summit of Fiscal Responsibility Agencies in Abuja, Akume reaffirmed the government's commitment to fostering transparency and accountability in the public sector. Alika Okpanachi Arua reports that George Akume was represented at the summit, emphasized the federal government's ongoing efforts to ensure prudent resource management. The report.
The federal government has been actively working to ensure the prudent management of national resources and enforcing fiscal discipline across public sectors. To sustain this trajectory, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, is stressing the need for improved adherence to the Fiscal Responsibility Act, particularly regarding borrowing practices, and calling for increased technical support to local government councils to adopt fiscal responsibility measures effectively.
This national summit has therefore been organized to strengthen the coordination of fiscal responsibility policies and practices nationwide. By bringing together representatives from national and subnational entities and working with development partners, we will share best practices, address common challenges, and chart a course forward.
The challenge is simply enforcement or the lack of it is the basic albatross of compliance.
The Fiscal Responsibility Commission, FRC, has also reaffirmed its dedication to a transparent financial system during the summit themed Building a Resilient Fiscal Framework, a Collaborative Approach. Executive Chairman Victor Morocco outlined plans to enhance fiscal coordination among government levels and improve collaboration between national and subnational institutions.
We are one people. At Fiscal Responsibility Commission, we believe that we should build a resilient framework for fiscal accountability, transparency in our nation, because it's one economy we have.
Like the Akwa Ibom State particular, we have a sound law with clear defined sanctions and penalties, clear defined.
Discussions at the summit focused on advancing fiscal governance nationwide. In Abuja, Alika Okpanachi, Arua, NTA News.
Thank you. And this is where we end this edition of Business Express for this week. Before we go, we leave you with what to expect this week. We expect, like we heard from our guests, the palm prices to reduce minimally as the Aliko Dangote refinery rolls out petroleum products. You can follow us on social media platforms for updates on happenings around world of business. I am Benny Adams saying enjoy your weekend while you think and do business.